Well, Ian, here we are at Meadow Lane. Playoff fever has certainly gripped the place. We've seen ticket sales absolutely soaring. But before we get on to the fans, let's just talk about the week that's gone by, the preparation. How's it all gone?
It's been good. I said before in a couple of interviews, it's nice to go in with a full bill of clean health and everybody's good and everybody's feeling fresh. So I think that's really important. Everybody's kind of recovered. We had one or two that were carrying knocks for a little while, but everybody's through that now. And I think that's really important to have that competition in the squad, and lads are training really well. You can sense that the season is finished and now it's knockout football, so it's cup football, lose and you're out, win and you're through, and you sense that that the tariff's higher and that the players are very focused on that.
Adam Chickson missed out at Maidenhead. Kyle Cameron came off. Kyle Wootton came off in pre-planned substitutions. All three of those looking good then?
Yeah, all three full training, no problems. Kyle Cameron, we knew if we wanted to have a realistic chance of him being involved in the playoffs, he needed to play before that. Managed to get him that 30 minutes and then an hour 65 actually against Maidenhead on the last day means that with his training now and the gap between the games that he should be fine to be involved. Chickson again was just a bit of precaution, and Woods, he's had that back problem earlier in the year and just felt like once we were clear and secure in that fifth spot that we could get him off and rest him. So, but everybody's fine.
We've had quite a settled squad over the last few games, but as always, there's the opportunity to impress sufficiently in training, and I suppose conversely to not impress enough in training to potentially win or lose a place in your starting 11 for the massive game on Monday. Do you get that sense from the players that they're all fighting for a shirt at the minute?
Yeah, and I think we've tried to create an environment where they know that even if they're not in the squad, there's still that opportunity. Some players have gone from being completely out of the squad to directly involved in the first 11. I think Joel Taylor did it a few times earlier in the season, had been out of the squad and then straight in and started against Bromley. Last season we had it several times where players had maybe not been in the squad but came straight in and performed. And that was a lot to do with how they competed in the training environment. So we try to keep that door ajar for everybody, even if they've not played recently, and that means that the motivation should be high to try and force your way into my thoughts and the rest of the coaching staff's thoughts for the game.
A lot is said, isn't it, about momentum going into playoff games. 3 wins and perhaps overlooked 3 clean sheets in those 3 wins as well, carrying us into Monday night in pretty good form.
Yeah, I think we're up there in the form table. Not conceded too many of late, which is a good thing, aside from 1 or 2 away games that we don't mention now. But I think, like you say, 3 clean sheets, 3 wins, good form going in. Yeah, we feel like we're in a good place. But this is a completely different game to the ones that we've played lately. We've played a lot of teams lower down in the table, and we know that Grimsby is going to be a totally different task to that. Really, really good team. I was very impressed with them in both the games that we played. I thought in the 2 games that we've played, I think in the first one, they were much better than us in the first half, but I thought we were excellent in the second half. Here at Meadow Lane, we were brilliant first half, and they got on top and were much better team second half. So kind of had a half each in the games. It's been really finely balanced games, and we know that's a totally different test to what we've had lately.
It was quite noticeable, wasn't it, what Grimsby's plan was in that second half here at Meadow Lane. The intensity of their pressing was unbelievable, and they took their chances as well. How much has that formed part of your preparations, in terms of, because that was actually quite a specific style of play that they implemented well against us?
Yeah, I think they changed from first to second half, and for kind of 20-25 minutes of that second half, we didn't get to grips with it. I thought actually when we switched systems to 4-3-3 later in the game, and we got back on top of the game, and it was really finely balanced then. But yeah, they really aggressive pressing team. But that's for us to find the solutions to that. When a team presents us with a problem, we've got to find the solutions, and we've certainly reflected back on that and then trying to formulate a good way of building a game plan for this game.
How much tactical stuff's gone on this week versus the usual sort of technical stuff and keeping those fitness levels topped up? Has there been much extra emphasis now you had a little bit more time to work with the players on actual focus on tactics?
Well, we do. We usually focus on tactics as well, but
extra focus.
Yeah. some specifics around certain individual players. You know, they've got some quality players in there that we know could be game changers, and we've got to be aware of that. I think you get a little bit longer to like, you know, in a normal week, you know, you have one game and then you're straight on to the next, and you do take care of your own performance a lot. We know that knockout football now, we can have one extra eye on some real fine details with the opposition, so we try and get a bit deeper into that. But a lot of it is, you know, we've done a lot of things that have worked through the season, so we don't change it all for this game. We keep working at the same things, and just, you know, some of the small key details we hope we get right. You've been around the club this week, you've seen the unbelievable response to ticket sales and the general buzz. How much are you looking forward to walking out that tunnel on Monday night? The atmosphere is going to be electric. Yeah, I think every time we've had a big game here, the atmosphere's been great, the fans have been great, and we can sense a buzz around with the supporters. There's a lot of tickets being sold, so we know, like, night game under the lights, great atmosphere. So just looking forward to that build-up now through the day on Monday, and then leading into the game, and I think it's going to be a really exciting atmosphere. For anybody who hasn't got a ticket yet, what would you say to them? Don't miss out. I think it's going to be good. You've seen in a lot of other games, really entertaining playoff games. This is where there's a lot of tension on the games and a lot at stake, which means that atmosphere, environment, the passion on the pitch is always, you know, at its highest. So the playoff games are invariably entertaining and high stakes, so I think it's well worth getting down and watching. Well, we've seen with all the playoff games so far in other leagues this year, but also with our eliminator match at home to Chesterfield last season, which was obviously had an extra emphasis because it was the first time fans could come back really after COVID. We saw what an entertaining and exciting experience that can be then. Yeah, and like you say, there's so much at stake, more so than just a regular game, and when that's the case, I think that the atmosphere can be something special, and that's certainly conveyed onto the pitch. I think that second half, Chesterfield last year at home, was a brilliant half of football played, and obviously for us it was a great end, and I think many people will remember that. So hopefully, you know, it's another night that we can to remember. And obviously the antithesis to that, I guess, is the fact that players may approach the game differently. They might have a different mindset going into the match. What's your approach to dealing with the sort of the emotional and the psychological elements of the playoffs? Because we know that it's a high pressure situation. Yeah, and I think everybody needs to understand that everyone on the pitch wants the same thing. Both teams want to win and get promoted. I can't say that any one team is going to want it more than the other team. We're both going to want it a lot. So it's about being calm and being focused and trusting in what we do, and knowing that when we can find our best attributes as a team, and when we've done it consistently, we've performed really, really well. So I think it's just to understand what's made us good this season, and just to put it all out on the pitch in this game. And from a supporter's perspective as well, is it about understanding that this will be a tough game? This will be a game which probably looks very different to a number of the games that we've played recently in terms of how dominant we've been, and understanding therefore the role that the supporters have to play in pushing the lads through difficult moments, perhaps? Yeah, I think we have to accept that Grimsby are going to cause us problems. They're going to attack, they're going to create things. They're going to have moments in the game where they're on top, which is normal when you play against a good team. And then we need to make sure that we stick together, that the strength of the crowd helps us and that pushes us, and we can shift momentum back in our favour. So that's the advantage of having the home game, and we hope that, you know, the crowd can push us and help us change the momentum in our favour.